Hi there. I'm going to be showing you a demonstration on how to cover the darkness that we have under our eyes. And if you don't know already, Saint has another product. It's not a makeup like the 3D, but rather it's a color corrector. And it uses the concept. You can see my different colors here. I don't have them all by any means, but you can see. And so it uses the concept of the color wheel. And I'll show you the color. Remember that we learned, primary colors, secondary colors when we were in school. So it uses that process to be able to take the distractions that we have on our face, to look at them, to find out what the color is, the main color is behind those, and to be able to use the opposite color basically of the color wheel, and to then take that color and to blend that darkness away. Now today I'm just going to be focusing in on the under eye area, but we can use the Demis to color age spots or sunspots, melasma, redness that we may have, and then of course the darkness that we have under our eyes. And it's a little tricky sometimes because when we look, now I've put all my 3D makeup on, and so and that's another good thing, that you can use Demi in conjunction with your 3D makeup. You can use Demi just to cover those distractions and use nothing else, and that's very nice. I've done that before. And then you can use Demi with some existing makeup that you have. But when it comes to our under eye areas, we want to be very careful because, as we're aging, especially, this is so thin, and you've probably heard me say this before, it's so thin under here, and it's unforgiving. So we have to be very careful when we apply anything under our eyes. And so if we are going to apply the color corrector and then go back and we feel like, oh, well, we want to put a little of our foundation there too, or whatever we would use normally there, we have to use very, very little of that product. And we're also, and I'll mention this again later, a tapping motion, because we don't want to remove the color corrector, but we also don't want to put too much of that on because it's going to just get all cakey and crepey, and that's going to make things worse for us. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start now. Like I said, I put makeup everywhere, but under my eyes I did not. And so you can see, probably this is a good way to show you, I do, as we age, we all have natural lines and we're born with them. Some people have like lines like around here or more here. And, there are babies that are born, all of us have these little lines, but as we age, those get deeper because we're losing the padding there, or like the fat there. And so like when I go here, you can see. Now some people's are a little worse than others. And, as we get older, we can lose in different places. But here you can kind of see that little, I call it like a little trench. I don't know. It's not very deep. But what it does is it creates shadows. And I like to look down when I do this because you can really see. And I'm sitting right in front of the window, right in front of that natural light. But you can see then the darkness, what we're looking at. Now, generally, that under eye darkness is going to be excess blue. And so generally, we're going to use colors that have more orange in them. Some yellow sometimes, maybe, even a little pink, depending on, exactly the shades we're working with. Some people have really super dark, really super dark, and that's very, very excess blue. So they're going to use a little bit different color. But most likely, you have a peachy color, maybe a pinky color, a little yellow. Sometimes I use a little more yellow here, but this is 03. The O stands for orange, but obviously it's not like orange. It's more of a peachy color. And so, and that 3 on there, because we have some that are 1, 3, 5, and that is the degree of pigment it has in it. so this has, so this is 03, and this is what I'm going to use today, excuse me, to tackle that darkness. Now, remember, I can't fix, I mean, it's not going to be perfect because I can't fix what's missing there. All I can do is create the illusion. All we can do is create the illusion by covering the shadows. Or veins, you know, sometimes we have veins, and we can kind of cover that too a little bit. And you'll notice here, I have melasma spots. Oh, especially over here, you can see, or excuse me, these are freckles. That's not melasma, but sometimes we have melasma. I have some above here I have to cover. And so with that, I'm going to use a little bit different color, but we'll focus here on that darkness now. And so, so here's the key. And you'll notice this is a little tin compared to like our regular the 3D tins and lip and cheek are double this really. This is usually about the size of our eyeshadows or some of our special holiday, they come out with holiday lip and cheeks that are about this size. And you think, man, because it is a little bit more expensive. However, here's the dealio with this. We're covering smaller areas, right? And the emphasis on that we are using very little of this product. And so I'm going to go ahead and start. And so here's the main thing. We want to look at our eyes. We want to come up close and we want to look at the darkest points. What really is bothering us about that. And so then we're going to dip into our color. And I'm telling you, we can always go back and get more. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. I am putting very little product on that brush. Now, this is my spot brush. And hopefully you got this brush because it is important. Demi has a few different brushes that are great for some different things. But when it comes to this very little detail work, the spot brush is really, really beneficial. So taking a little bit, all right. And so see, this is what's distracting me. That darkness here, and then right through here. You can see that, right? And then I got a little bit right here. So I want to show you. So I'm just going to kind of dot that on. Sometimes it's, okay, I think it's better to look up, see, right now. Okay, so so I'm just kind of dotting that on. And it's not 100% necessary, but like the 3D makeup, and maybe you've heard me say this before, it's kind of good to let it melt in a little bit to your skin. All right, so you already can see, you know, an improvement. I haven't even, now we're going to kind of blend that out a little bit. But just so you can kind of see how nice that covers. And then we're just going to gently, and I mean gently, blend that in. Okay, then we can assess it. But look at already the difference. You see the difference? You know, I've covered a lot of that through here. I got that vein. I do have a vein there on either side, but look at that. I blended that away pretty good. And again, it's just not going to be perfect, but we want it to look, you know, better. And you can see how much better that looks from the other side. Okay. Using just little product, little goes a long way, I'm telling you. So those tins are going to last, you know, a very long time. Okay. So if I sit back and I look at that, now I haven't touched these little, especially over here, that's darker. I haven't touched that yet. But just looking at that, you know, how much different that looks. If I come in a little closer. especially as I look down, you see the difference. Now I'm actually using right now on my skin a little bit of a spray tan, and so I actually could go even a little, maybe tad darker peach, but this is a color it's common that people get, and I'd use this more, you know, when I don't, in the winter time, but so I kind of wanted to show you. But again, you can see how that just blends out nice. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll touch up the other side again. I'll show you that side. Do this. I'll come back for that. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead a little bit. I'm going to go do this. I do think looking down is really helpful. Okay. Okay, so what you'll find as you're just covering these distractions, you know, just a little bit, you're going to see just covering the little bit of darkness improves how the way you feel about everything else. And so I look at that and I think, oh, you know what, I'm good with that. I think I'm good with that. Okay, and then remember, if we're going to go and use a little bit of our, you know, foundation over that, then, you know, it'll blend things in just a little bit. And okay, put a little bit more. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to get, now this is a little bit of a darker color, a different color. This is oops, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's see if I can find it. And I am going to just kind of go in and cover that melasma spot just a little bit. I'm going to clean off my brush a little bit. It's also make sure that you're keeping your brushes real clean. That's important. So for this melasma spot, or I keep saying that this is actually a little bit of freckling right here, but it would be, you know, they look brown, right? But actually, when you take a closer look, most of the time, they have a very mulchy look to them. It's very actually green is what it really is. And so then we're going to counteract with a red. Look on the color wheel. Reds are what counteracts the green, right? Of course, I'm not going to splash on actual red, but this is called, for instance, R1. It's in the red family. Pink is in the red family, right? All right, so just a little bit on some of those distractions. Blend it out. See, even right through here, it was actually more freckling than the actual blue. So it's more green than the blue. All right, so it's, you know, when you think about it, it seems like, oh, it's hard, but it's not really, that hard when you just figure out what that excess color is. All right, so I look at that and I think, you know what, I am great with that. I am good with that. All right, so now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to show you how to cover very carefully with your, let me move this out of the way and grab the normal foundation that you would use there. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my multitasker and see it's also not a very big brush. It's kind of flat. Maybe you could even use your finger, little practice, but I'm going to go ahead and use just, and we're picking up tiny bit, because look, we don't want to wipe away all that we did. And to be honest, I you know, like I've told you, sometimes I just do my under eyes with the Demi and I'm good to go. But if you feel like, oh no, I still want a little more of that coverage, we're just going to go back in carefully. And then you can even put it maybe where you didn't have anything, because we didn't put any Demi up here, but just a little goes a long way. You know, again, you don't, you know, want to avoid the crepiness. Want to avoid that creepiness. Now, I don't have any eyeshadow or anything on right now, but it's kind of... All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to take another, maybe a little bit bigger. This is another one of our Demi brushes. And pull you a little closer here. And it's also sort of fluffy. I can't think what the name of this is, but if you inquire, I can let you know. But it's like, you can see that, you know, this end, it's bigger. So it's for little bigger areas. And so it's nice for this area. And so I'm just going to go in and again, and maybe you can even use your finger. But if you, yeah, I mean, that kind of works. But here, you know, remember what I said, we're just tapping, tapping, tapping. And this here, I can blend in a little better because I had nothing there. But you see, we just want to be very careful because you know, you don't want to blend away all that you did. Okay, now look at that. See? I think that looks pretty good, you know? Yeah, I'll just use this side of the brush, or just, you know, a brush that's real, kind of fluffy and just nice. And we're tapping, tapping. And, you know, even with, you know, you've heard me before, you know, using the 3D makeup, you know, it's about tapping. You know, tapping it all out. It helps get better coverage, you know, and it helps us not to wipe away, you know, waste our product, right? Okay, so there, look at that. I am really happy with that. I am very, very happy with that. So, you know, that's what color correction is about. Now, again, it's not perfect. Look, I mean, you know, I can't get actually rid of the little divots, but when you get rid of that, the darkness around what it creates, shadows a lot of times is really what it is. Or, you know, like it could be veining, like we saw, excuse me, it could actually be pigmentation that we want to get rid of, or our veins, but sometimes it's shadowing. And so that, a lot of times that's what it is there. Although then you saw over here, I did have more of the hyperpigmentation, right? But look how nice it blends away. Is it perfect? No. I mean, it's not perfect, because it's not going to be perfect, because no amount of makeup, no matter what makeup you use, it's not going to be perfect. And so that's why it's important that, you know, as we get older, we don't have 20-year-old skin anymore. And so we just have to embrace. And what we do is we hide a little bit of that distraction, but then we look beyond that and we see it, you know, other things that we like. And for instance, freckles. I don't cover my freckles with the, you know, like I would cover the sunspot or the hyperpigmentation. I think freckles are beautiful. And so there's things like that that we should embrace, you know, the color of our skin, the, you know, color of our lips, our eye color, you know, and so when we take those little distractions away, we start to focus in on everything else, we think, wow, okay, that's not too bad. It's not all that bad. So we can find things that we really love about ourselves. But I do love the Demi. course, I love the 3D, but again, you know, the Demi is a color corrector. And so you can see, I think that looks pretty good. So if you have any more questions, or you'd like to inquire about other colors maybe that you'd like to get on your face, for your face for different things, let me know. I can help you with that. But definitely if you have any questions, reach out to me and I'll be glad to help. Bye-bye.